Welcome. It's the Matic. It's the illest blerd in the land. Welcome back to Ill Blerd. Matic, welcome back, legends. It's the hardest working blerd on YouTube. Today's new video is something that is a bit surprising. But you know what? It's kind of been signs. There have been some signs there. It seems like Disney is losing faith in Lucasfilm. And at the end of the day, I can see a little bit why they're losing faith or hope within the actual company, because they're not making the money that they hopefully thought they were going to make. But let's get into it. Pretty much, Disney is giving up on Lucasfilm because they're losing billions of dollars. I'm not surprised, because you have to remember, before Disney bought Lucasfilm under Bob Iger, Star Wars was already a billion-dollar franchise, and that was because of the 4th, 5th, and the 6th Star Wars movies that came out. And you know, it necessarily didn't need another $1 billion, but then again, with Disney acquiring it, maybe they have superficial expectations for it. I think the first thing that is surprising to people is that Disney is spending too much money on Star Wars projects, and maybe even the last Indiana Jones movie, and it's hurting the studio, you know what I'm saying, because they're not re-upping the money. The movies are not being as successful as they once were. And that is a bit of a problem, because if they're not able to re-up the money in the box office, then pretty much budgets should be cut. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying take a huge chunk, but some percentage of the budget should be cut for certain films to be made under Lucasfilm, because it's not helping the company at all. They're spending all this money on these movies, maybe even TV shows. It is not calculating. It's not mathing. You know what I'm saying? It's not adding up. The second reason is because of lackluster or underperforming movies. I know the biggest movie that underperformed was Han Solo. And you know what? I think a lot of fans weren't necessarily looking for like a young standalone Han Solo movie without Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker. And maybe the fans were let down. They were like, yo, we didn't ask for no Han Solo movie when he was back in his younger days. I'm like, nah. Get that out of here. And maybe that's what it was. Also, Rogue One wasn't a success like it should have been when it came down to it. And then I can't forget Star Wars Episode 9. Episode 9 was the one that did not do well out of this trilogy. 7 and 8, The Force Awakens, Episode 7, and then the Last Jedi Star Wars movies, those were billion-dollar movies. But also, I can't forget, George Lucas was not there present for those movies. And maybe that hindered the success of those movies, because this may have not been his original material for those movies. But I think people are growing tired of the Skywalker family too. That's just my personal take, because it's like, what more? You guys are milking the Skywalker family. Can we please get some other Star Wars characters for movies, all right? And I know they're talking about doing another one with Rey's character, and I'm like, nah, leave that alone, please. Also, the last Indiana Jones movie by Lucasfilm underperformed. It did not do well in the box office. And I think, like I said before, that Disney has unrealistic expectations for it. I think they're expecting their movies to be like Marvel. They're expecting majority of them to reach $1 billion. I'm pretty sure some will reach $1 million. And maybe that's the problem. They're trying to do the same with Marvel, but with Star Wars, all right? and that's not working like it should be. But let's talk about TV shows, because we all know Star Wars does have successful TV shows on Disney Plus. Uh, The Mandalorian, successful Star Wars show. Ahsoka, successful Star Wars show. Andor, successful Star Wars show. The Book of Boba Fett, successful Star Wars show. The animated Star Wars show with Ahsoka as a younger person, I think it's called Stories, successful Star Wars show. So maybe the big problem with Lucasfilm, maybe not as necessarily the movies. Maybe they need to have shows to reach $1 billion. That's what it seems like. It seemed like they did with episodes 7 and 8. You know what I'm saying? But maybe with shows. Now, there is one show, and I want to throw this out there. Willow. That show underperformed. It was a flop for Disney. I see why Bob Iger is willing to sell this IP now, because maybe they had high hopes for this IP to be the next big franchise like Marvel when it comes to it. And maybe it's not working out. You know what I'm saying? Now I will say this. I still think, I know for a fact that they have new Star Wars movies coming out. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that it's not dealing with the main story when it comes to Star Wars, when it comes down to it. Because, like I said before, the Star Wars, the Luke Skywalker family, you guys have done enough with. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what else can you do to make it interesting? And I think with them going with the Dawn of the Jedi, a story years before the Star Wars franchise, could be something that fans really want to see. Because honestly, I'm like, yo, I cannot wait to see this. I'm like, because I don't want to see something that, hey, we already done this before. No, let's do something dealing with the beginning. And that has something to do with the beginning, because it's years, years before the Star Wars franchise that we're familiar with. Also, I'm looking forward to The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is one of my favorite Star Wars shows. And the Mando and Grogu movie could be a successful $1 billion movie. Right along with the Dawn of the Jedi. So, maybe there's still hope. You know what I'm saying? Let me be real about that. Maybe there's still hope after all with one of the newer Star Wars movies, maybe even TV shows that can maybe reach $1 billion. Very interesting. You know what I'm saying? I think Lucasfilm is in a tough space. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not able to produce what Disney wanted them to produce. Maybe, like I said before. But my theory is, I think Bob Iger, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? If these other movies don't do well in the box office, is there a possibility that that IP could be sold off? Yes, definitely. Because at the end of the day, it's not generating the revenue that they want to see for Disney. So, or the other thing is that pretty much they're going to cut employees again. They've done it before with Star Wars. They've done it with Marvel. They've done it with Pixar, even Disney. They're going to lose more of their workforce. So certain people are going to lose jobs, or they're going to be firing people. You know what I'm saying? They've done that already. Disney's known for doing that. I mean, if they fire Kathleen, that'd be the greatest thing. That would be the greatest thing. I think Dave Filoni is a good choice that they got working with the new Star Wars movies and shows that are coming out. It seems like even though he's the unofficial protege of George Lucas, he's somewhat of a decent choice. I like somewhat of his vision. I'm like, I like this guy. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's hard to be like, no, I don't. Like, I see that he has some admiration and also dedication for what he wants to do with the franchise, because Kathleen was not the way, even though she's still present, all right? But it's a blur. Living word, guys. You tell me in the comments, do you think that Star Wars movie with Mando and Grogu or the Dawn of the Jedi will be a more successful movie for the franchise? And my next question is, if, let's just say if, because I don't know if this is going to happen or not, if these movies underperform, do you think Bob Iger is going to sell Lucasfilm? It's a blur. Living the word, guys. Thank you so much for commenting, liking, subscribing, also sharing the video and watching. Have a wonderful day, guys, and I'm out.